boy. Okay. Let's see if this is all up and good. Huh? How? Am I alive? Hate how I can't tell right away. It's super weird. I don't think anyone else has this problem. Oh. Alright, alright, alright. I don't think anyone else has this problem. Alrighty. Got that up and running. Okay. Time to show off to people in the Discord. Showing off more content for upcoming public games. Okay. All right, all right. Ah. Humna. Okay, okay. Do. Let's take a look at what I've got cooking in the kitchen right now. Got that all up and running. Okay. I think everything is Gucci. Okay. Hello. How is it hanging? Wanted to show off some more content that I'm making for all y'all. And try and get this whole party started here. I've got a bunch of things to show off. And we'll be diving into all that. Super duper excited to get these games up and running. Unfortunately, I will not be able to do it within the next week or two. I don't think, because I've got a whole bunch of social obligations to deal with. But after that, then I'll be able to run a bunch of games for everybody. I believe I'll have a bit more of a grasp on my schedule then, and it'll be in for a good time. So, okay. Oh, goodness gracious. Ah. All right. So, hello there, fellow DMs and ladies, if they're in here. I don't want to brag. By the way, how's it going, Overboard? I don't want to brag, but at one point, I was talking with all my other fellow D&D YouTube creators, TTRPG creators, and all that. And what's really funny is a lot of the guys, they host a like 99% male viewership, whereas a lot of the female streamers, they would have like, close to a 90% female audience thing. And I actually, amongst all the guys, I had a better female viewership than all of them. So I definitely know there's a lot out there. I definitely know. It's just a thing of, people typically stick to their tribe in a sense. But, you know, some people can branch out there. So yeah, today I wanted to show off more of what I've got cooking in the kitchen here. First things first, we're sitting here looking at 5e subclasses because when I go to run my Slay the Beast adventure in the next coming weeks, I'll be running two versions of it. I'll be running a 5e version and I'll be running my own TTRPG version, Make Believe. And the reason for that is because I know there's a lot of people who are married to 5e and won't bounce off of 5e. That's perfectly fine. I'm making content for them. I've got a bejesus ton of subclasses for it. I've got some nice little fun additional rules for it. It'll be a fun time. So I'll be, in essence, playtesting all of the stuff that I'm making here for both the 5e, for the adventure, and for my own tabletop role-playing system. So it'll be a fun time. So, looking at, I'm basically like I'm cooking something up in the Discord so I can show off a bunch of the rules and not like have it get all bogged down, because it turns out Discord's got a little bit more stuff going on with it where you can show off a bunch of content without getting all busy with it, all nonsensical with it. So I've been working on that. But yeah, the first thing here is gonna be the 5e subclasses. So when it comes to the 5e subclasses, I've got subclasses made for every single one of the classes. That it does include Artificer. Even though I know Artificer, I know a lot of people don't, and I know a lot of tables don't touch Artificer, but I threw some in there because I know there's some Artificer lovers. But every single class has anywhere between 4 to 7 new subclasses. And yeah, just wanted to show those off, and I wanted to show off what I've got all cooked up here, and then move on to showing off some of the adventure, or showing off some of the prospects of the adventure anyway. Let's take a look at some of what's a class people want to see new subclasses of. I'm curious to know. Let's. What the heck? Oh, open the wrong application there. Let's go with fighter. I think fighter's just a classic stay here. Fighter. What's funny is in writing all of these subclasses, I've made a bunch of subclasses for 5e in the past, but I forgot how verbiage heavy they are. I forgot that there's a lot of nuance in regards of like, oh yeah, there's a lot of wording to it. there's a lot you've got to write to make these subclasses. And ultimately for me, I think the thing that's probably the more annoying aspect of making 5e content is making high level content when I know I'm never going to touch it. Because quite frankly, I don't play high level play. I've ran high level D&D before. I've gotten up to level 18 in a campaign, like starting from level 1. And mind you, it was like over 100 sessions, so like there's definitely not just it was not like a leveling up every month, every single week thing. But I just prefer the low level stuff. Warlock, yeah, let's take a look at Warlock. So Warlock has some of my more favorite subclasses that came out of this whole Slay the Beast package here. Let's take a look at Here's one of my more favorite ones, the Morning Bride. Let's bring it on down to one page and dive in, shall we? How's this look? Nope, moving the wrong thing. There we go. So, the Morning Bride. Your patron is the spirit of tragic love, perhaps a bride who died before her wedding, a lover separated by death, or the collective sorrow of all who have lost their beloved. This entity embodies the beauty and pain of love unfulfilled, the power that comes from enduring loss, and the strength found in vulnerability. The patron teaches that true power comes not from avoiding sorrow, but from transforming it into something beautiful and meaningful. You get your typical array of warlock spells. This one's Bane, Cure Wounds, Calm Motions, Gentle Repose, Speak of Dead, Beacon of Hope, Death Ward or Life, and Raise Dead, and Greater Restoration. At first level, you gain proficiency in Persuasion skill. Additionally, when you make a Charisma ability check while speaking about loss, love, or sacrifice, you double your proficiency bonus. If you're already proficient in the skill, you gain this benefit. I think that's thematic. Also at first level, for Dears Departed, your patron grants you power over life and death through sorrow. When a creature you can see within 60 feet is reduced to 0 hit points, you can use your reaction to shed tears that carry healing power. The creature regains hit points equal to your charisma modifier plus your warlock level. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again to finish a long rest. So, I know that there's going to be some naysayers. I know that there's always going to be people that say, oh man, there's all this healing going on in 5e is a pain. But something to consider is healing is only a pain in 5e if you run 1 or 2 encounters in a day. For my adventure, it's not going to be like that. There's going to be more than 1 encounter in the air quote adventuring day. So something like this, an ability where you can get a really quick, cheap heal off of someone, like that's a solid ability to have. And it's attached to the warlock. So, I think a good way to look at like classes and abilities and things like that is like comparing it to a card game. Like if anyone's familiar with Magic the Gathering, it's sort of like a card advantage. So the warlock, you're playing with your hand of cards, and the features you get are equivalent to the amount of spells that you have, right? As a warlock, you've only got your 2 spells, in any given encounter, right? Because you get them back on a short rest, but once again, depending on the campaign, short rest may or may not be coming around too often. So you have a core feature ability, which is air quote like having a free healing word, but it can be used as a reaction. The fact that it can be used as a reaction is really powerful. But the fact of the matter is, you're getting a feature that only comes into play when someone is near death. And right there, that's the flux of it. It's a very strong ability, but it's a very niche ability. It's also an ability that you're, more importantly, not using that often. So I think it's perfectly fair. Then at 6th level, here we got the Veil of Mourning. At 6th level, you can shroud yourself and your allies in protective sorrow. As an action, you can create a 30-foot radius aura of melancholy that moves with you and lasts for 1 minute. Hostile creatures that start their turn in the aura must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or have their speed reduced by half until the start of their next turn, as they're overcome with profound sadness. Allied creatures in the aura have resistance to necrotic and psychic damage and advantage on death saving throws. You can use this feature once per short or long rest. Once again, I think it's very thematic, and also very importantly is it isn't like universally always 100% the best option to do, but when it's useful, it's incredibly useful. Undying Devotion. At 10th level, your patron's eternal love grants you resilience against death. You have advantage on death saving throws, and when you're stabilized or regain hit points while unconscious, you regain unconsciousness with 1 extra hit point. Additionally, you can speak with and understand undead creatures as if you shared a common language, and they are not automatically hostile to you unless you give them reason to be. This subclass right here is all about like death, right? A lot of the abilities are tying to death's door. A lot of the abilities are tying to interacting with the dead. I think it's just flavorful and fun all around. And then lastly, you're at 14th level, Eternal Requiem. You can channel the full power of your patron's tragic love. As an action, you can create a 60-foot radius sphere of sorrowful energy centered on yourself that lasts 1 minute. Within this area, all creatures can hear a beautiful, mournful song that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere. At the start of each of your turns, you can choose to either harm or heal all hostile creatures in the area take 2d8 necrotic, con save for half, or all allied creatures in the area regain 2d8 hit points. I love the options there. You know, do you want to be more offensive? Do you want to be more defensive? Also, something you'll be noting about a lot of my features, both for my tabletop role-playing game system and for all these subclasses, is I am really trying to hammer it in that this is a team-based game. There is a lot of features that interact with your teammates. You know, this whole class actually is mostly about interacting with your teammates to some fashion. You know, just like I really want to hammer in abilities that help out the homies. I want to incorporate more us and we's versus I's and me's. Continuing on, creatures that die within the area can speak for 1 minute after death, sharing final words or request. You know, it's like that right there. You can have super duper epic moments of like, oh, you know, I get to hear them speak one last time, or oh, I can hear, like, I just killed this guy, but I want to hear what he has to say, right? Stuff like that. And you can cast Speak with Dead at will without expending spell slots while the effect is active. I think this one right here is just is a banger of like a very flavorful subclass, just oozing with all sorts of goodness here. Let's take a look at what else. I like the Keeper of Secrets, the Living Castle, Heart of the Wild. I like the Forgotten Sovereign, but let's... Yeah, let me show off another one here. Let's show off... So, something to note about the I've never played Overflow 14. Ultimately, the one of my major issues with 5e is the fact that depending on the level sphere that you're looking to play the game at, you are playing a different game. You are ultimately playing a different system. The level 1 experience, the level 5 experience, the level 10, 15, and 20, those are different games. You are fundamentally approaching the game in a different way. You are fundamentally shaping the world in a different light. You are interacting with systems that you weren't interacting with in the previous, iteration. The list goes on and on. And I truly do feel like the fact that... I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. I feel like a lot of game design elements is wrapped around the idea that we're looking at these classes and we think to ourselves, oh, we need to stretch them out to level 20. And I think that can be a bit of a problem in the design space of D&D in general, is the fact that these features and these abilities and these spells and so on and so forth are stretched out over this level 20 gap, when ultimately so few people play to high level anyway, then you spend a lot of design space on an area that doesn't get played. And two, also very importantly, is it cheapens out the lower end of that. If you design the game in mind of, oh hey, like we are totally expecting all of our players to play, across the board, level 1 to 20, all the way every time, then I think it would be a fine game. But the truth of the matter is, people don't do that. People want to play the game at lower levels. Like, the average game is between levels 3 to 10. And I think that if they just design the game from the ground up with that level sphere in mind, and, have high level play be a alternate, instead of that being... If I was working at Wizards of the Coast, here's what I would do. I would just straight up make the next version of D&D 6e, let's call it. I would make 6e like a core level 1 to 10 experience in that player's handbook. And then and mind you, I like, it wouldn't just be a port of 5e, it'd be whatever like new innovative things going on there. But ultimately, it would be for that lower end experience that the majority of people are playing in the core rulebook. The expectation is you go from level 1 to 10. Keep things simple, right? And then I would have the optional stuff be like the past level 10, past the plate of where most people are playing. I would have that be an optional part of the game in like the DMG or some other type of official book. Would be the expansion, the advanced version of the system. So if we had 6e, then I'd eventually, later down the line, I'd come out with 6e advanced, and that would be just a pure optional thing for the niche amount of people who play high level content. But I'm not in charge of 5e, or I'm not in charge of Wizards of the Coast, and quite frankly don't know who is in charge of Wizards of the Coast right now. It's totally up in the air, right? Let's take a look at another subclass that I adore here. Man, freaking fighters. Like, of all the subclasses, fighter ended up sometimes taking up multiple pages. Freaking annoying. There's a rogue one I really enjoy. Gosh darn it. If you worked at Wizards of the Coast, you'd probably end up working for Darrington Press. Maybe. That seems to be the way of things. You move on from D&D to greener pastures, it seems. It's very interesting seeing that that D&D, not only did they lose those people, they just lost one of the faces of D&D, and then also the two content creators for D&D. They also, I believe the vice president or someone, I'll look it up right now. Someone also either got fired or they quit. Someone very higher up in there. Let's take a look. Dungeons and Dragons VP Jess Lanzillo leaves Woods of the Coast. So it is just like, it is a fire sale going on at Woods of the Coast right now in regards to D&D. I know, of course, Magic the Gathering still always popping off because Magic the Gathering one, it always pops off, but two, the Final Fantasy set is selling gangbusters because there's a lot of Final Fantasy nerds hopping into Magic for the first time. But just like D&D is just, it's so strange. It's so strange. Here we go. As a further reminder, I have 80 subclasses. 80 subclasses for this product that I'm going to be playtesting with all y'all. It's going to be a grand old time. Actually, let me edit that. 80 new subclasses. Yeah, so let's take a look at this one. Cursed Treasure Hunter. The castle's vast halls are filled with enchanted treasures, cursed artifacts, and magical trinkets that have claimed many would-be thieves. Cursed Treasure Hunters are rogues who have learned to work with these dangerous magical items, using curses as tools and turning the castle's own trapped wealth against its guardians. They understand that every treasure comes with a price, and they've learned to pay it strategically. Wow, yeah, that guy. How's it going? So as a friendly reminder, 80 subclasses, because when I go to kickstart this product, which is, by the way, that's make believe here. Slay the Beast. Here we go. Uh, is that not shown? Here we go. Slay the Beast. So when I go to show off, or when I go to Kickstart this adventure, Slay the Beast, it is going to be, I'm going to be releasing both a 5e version and an old school version. So the 5e version is going to come with a huge list of subclasses and backgrounds and spells. As of right now, I currently have 10 spells per spellcaster. So actually, I'm trying to remember how many spellcasters there are. Let me freaking find out. Here we go. I've got 10 new spells for each of them. So there's 10 for Artificer, Bard, Cleric, Druid, Paladin, Ranger, Sorcerer, Warlock, Wizard. So I've got 90 new spells. What's up? You've been working hard, I see. Yes, I have. So I've been going to town on this product here, Slay the Beast. So not only have I been working on Slay the Beast, I've also been working on my own TTRPG, which is Make Believe here. So because basically my idea for releasing content was I didn't want to trickle out a bunch of content here and there and everywhere. I wanted to release with an explosive start of content. So I'm going to be releasing my own tabletop role-playing system. I'm going to be releasing this big ol' adventure, Slay the Beast. And then I'll be releasing actually a whole bunch of little adventures as well. So I'm going to be releasing just a hodgepodge of content, and then it'll, trickle out to the normal release schedule of things. But I wanted to release with a really big bang. So that's what's going on. It's a good name. Make Believe. I looked over the internet. I can't believe there hasn't been a tabletop role-playing system titled Make Believe. Literally, like that. I don't know if this was like lodged in my brain or something. But you remember when you're a kid and you're playing on the playground with all the other kids, and you're either playing superheroes or you're sword fighting or whatever. I feel like I have a distinct memory of someone calling that, oh, they're playing make-believe, right? How did that not translate to a tabletop role-playing system? How did that not translate to a video game or anything? Like, you're playing make-believe. You are, like, it baffles my mind that wasn't taken. But, I'm glad it has. Alrighty, so let's look at this here rogue subclass, the Cursed Runner. When you choose this archetype at 3rd level, you gain proficiency in the investigation skill. You gain proficiency with thieves' tools, and you learn to identify magical items. You can determine if an item is magical by handling it for 1 minute, and you have advantage on Arcana checks to identify the properties of magic items. I hope you, I know you don't really do epic, but if you really need epic monsters for your 5e, I'll send you stuff. Absolutely. We play Make Believe a lot. It's close to home. Yeah, exactly, right? In this adventure I'm running, it's not going to be, I think the cap is going to probably be 11th level. For 5e. For old school, it's a bit different because in old school, an 11th, a 10th level character in 5e basically 5e in old school, they're non-comparable. You cannot compare them one to the other. But for 5e, I'm probably leaning toward level 11 being the cap, sort of like Curse of Strahd in a sense, because both of them end in an epic big castle. But I do have the stat block of the grand finale monster for this, and I'm pretty happy with it. But other than that, when it comes to my smaller adventures that I'm going to be running, I'm not. I'm probably going to usually release stuff on the lower end of things, just because there's a much higher demand for it, and two, I'm more comfortable with it, and 3, it is very much so easier. It's gonna sound bad to say, but it is easier to write for lower level content than it is to write for higher level content. To challenge people. You got to do a lot to challenge higher level content stuff. Absolutely, Dragon Breath used to be save versus death. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Alrighty, going on. Cursed collection here. Starting at 3rd level, you carry a collection of minor cursed items that you've learned to use safely. You have 3 cursed trinkets that regain their power whenever you finish a long rest. You get a weeping coin. As a bonus action, you can flip this coin to force one creature within 60 feet to make a wisdom saving throw. On a failure, they are overcome with sadness and have disadvantage on their next attack roll. Very cute. Just a quick little, oh hey, I toss a coin to your Witcher. Thirsting Blade. You can activate this as part of an attack. If your sneak attack hits, the target takes an additional D4 necrotic damage, and you regain hit points equal to the necrotic damage dealt. So a cute little, extra little burst of damage and a cute little burst of healing. And lastly, the Shadow Locket. As a bonus action, you can open this locket to create a 10-foot radius of magical darkness centered on a point within 30 feet. The darkness lasts until the start of your next turn. Just cute little trinkets to, get you going. I totally get it. It's a ton of work. It is. I will always preface by saying, though, the real reason why 5e at higher levels isn't air quote challenging, because I hear a lot of people say, like, oh, 5e at higher levels, like, it gets too easy. The issue comes down to how people run the game. If you run someone through, if you run 5e and they're in a hostile environment where they have to be constantly using their spells and features in that environment, and they are getting into, 6 to 20 combat encounters, then that's the extent of like, oh, hey, they are getting challenged. They are having to use the resources. But obviously, most people don't do that. Most people run 1 to 2 combat encounters in a day, and thus the players get to supernova everything. Oh my god, he said it. It's easier to write low-level content. It's a wrap, folks. We can go now. He admits it. It is. It is so much easier. Just like sitting there, like writing... The dichotomy of writing a level 1 adventure versus a level 20 adventure, it's like, okay, in a level 1 adventure, all right, so you go around this corner and there's 3 goblins, okay, and then you go here and there's a trap, and that trap does 1d6 damage, and, oh, hey, at the very finale there is a monster, but it's an illusion, versus at level 20, it's like, okay, okay, I throw 3 Krakens at them, and the part takes like next to no damage. Okay, and then I can't write any real dungeons here because the party can just teleport anywhere, and they can just blow things up, and they could just they scry and know everything, and like the list just goes on and on of what you could possibly do at those high levels. It's ridiculous. Alrighty, also at 3rd level here, we have Cursed Resistance. Your exposure to cursed items has built up your resistance to harmful magic. You have advantage on saving throws against being cursed, and when you would gain a curse, you can choose to delay its effects until you finish a long rest. The curse still affects you, but you can postpone when it begins. So something important about my adventure that I'll be running soon is curses are a big deal. Curses are not... first off, there's a bunch of things that give curses, and also very importantly is... curses are very unique. Curses will apply some sort of debuff, or they'll make you have to do a certain thing, or maybe they just make you look funny, or whatever the case may be. The curse does something to you. And also, on the other side of that is I am not having it just be I cast remove curse and the curse is removed. How I'm working this adventure out is, when you cast the remove curse spell, the remove curse spell identifies how to remove the curse. You still have to remove the curse, and the only way to remove a curse is by do a certain thing. I'm not going to give away any spoilers here, but it could be, oh, hey, you need to take this item, and you need to go to this place at this time and do this ritual. So it isn't just I can, get rid of the curse for free. No, it's just telling you, oh, hey, you've got this curse, it's debilitating you. We know how to get rid of it, but we have to actually do the thing. So curses are going to be a big deal in this adventure. Next up here at 9th level, Treasure Sense. Beginning at ninth level, you can sense the presence of valuable items and magical auras. As an action, you can detect the location of any treasure worth 100 GP or more, magical items, or magical traps within 60 feet of you. You learn the direction, but not the exact location or nature of what you sense. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, regaining all uses when you finish a long rest. Make treasure good again, right? Like, treasure's fun. Get players rich, have them spend their gold, have them go back into the dungeon to get their gold, repeat process, right? Fun times. Curse Transference. At 13th level, you can redirect curses and harmful magic. When you or an ally within 30 feet is targeted by a spell that would impose a curse, charm, or frighten effect, you can use your reaction to choose a different target for the effect within 30 feet of the original target. You can use this feature once per long rest. Really, really dope, right? Once again, this adventure is curses and stuff. Complex is good. It creates fun scenarios. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think that there is, like, 5e gave a bunch of spells that basically remove elements of the game. So in 5e, there's a bunch of spells that remove curses. There's remove curse. There's removing disease. There's, removing the need for food. Basically, 5e added a bunch of spells that remove game elements, right? And for some people, that's fine because they don't want to deal with those game elements. Maybe they don't want to have to worry about diseases when they're trotting around the jungle or the sewers. Maybe they don't want to have to suffer the debilitating effects of a curse that the villain placed upon them. Maybe they don't want to have to track their food as they delve around, etc., right? Those spells are purely there to remove elements of the game, but ultimately the issue with it is when all of those features were placed into the player's handbook, they're essentially saying, like, oh, this is the way the game is played. And I feel like there's a bit of an issue with some newer DMs that are afraid to run the game that they want to run if it means going up against what the, like, basic rules say. So, once again, looking at food, for example, it's clear as day. If you read that player's handbook, characters need to eat and drink water. But then, of course, there is a whole bunch of little features and backgrounds and spells and whatever the frick else that simply say, oh yeah, you eat or drink enough, and that's that in the story. And thus it removes an element of the game. And then there's, whatever. I am perfectly fine with putting my foot down and saying, hey, I'm going to remove elements of the base game to basically make the game unique. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's a really great way to refresh your feelings for the game. I think it's a great way to see the game in a different light. I think it's a great way to challenge how the system is ran. Goodberry is just the easy, oh hey, like, a bunch of people have access to this one spell that not only heals everyone, but it also, does whatever, right? I ate this one random berry that the ranger pooped out, and all of a sudden I don't need to eat anything. Guys, the villain that we went up against, he slapped me with a curse as he flocked off and ran away. Oh, that's fine. Cleric, just slap me with a spell before we go to bed tonight. The game, with just very few knobs and tweaks and pulls and levers, you can make games so unique. But I feel like a lot of people are afraid to adjust those dials and knobs. And, yeah. I brought back level drain, stat drain, etc. for that very reason. Yeah, I feel like that's a big deal, right? Is level drain and stat drain. I think stats are a very interesting one in particular. Depending on your XP system, level drain can be very impactful, specifically with 5e, because in 5e every level is so incredibly impactful. But ultimately, if you have a mixed match level of people, then you can get into those fun scenarios where, oh, hey, we're all level 3, but you're level 4. You need to pull your weight. You need to do more. And then thus they get abused more often. Like, that can be pretty funny. But stat drain in particular, I think could be really interesting because, you get used to having abilities that proc off of, oh, hey, my DC is higher because, I cast a spell and, procs off my intelligence. But, oh, hey, my intelligence dropped by 4 points and now my DC is down. Oh, hey, I'm a fighter up in the front line. I swing my sword. If I lose strength, I'm kind of hosed. Your strength goes down far enough. Oh, hey, I can't even wear this, heavy armor. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. I still don't comprehend what receiving enough video means. I'll have to look that up at some point. Every once in a while, I get this little error issue that says YouTube is not receiving enough video. What does receiving enough video mean? I don't comprehend it. Alrighty, lastly here for this rogue subclass here, we have the Master of Forbidden Treasures. At 17th level, you have learned to wield the most dangerous curse artifacts. You can attune to one additional magical item beyond your normal limit, so as a rogue it'd be 4. And this item can be cursed. When you deal sneak attack damage while wielding a cursed magic item, you can choose to activate the item's curse against your target instead of dealing the extra damage. The exact effect depends on the item. Right there, like, you've got a cursed item to some repute, you can transfer that over to someone else. Like, that's cool. That's a cute little thing. So, once again, 80 subclasses here. Which, by the way, when I go to run this campaign, it will be mandatory that you pick one of my subclasses. Because this is a playtest. I've got 80 subclasses to choose from. You're not lacking in options. Is what it is. I'll be posting all about it in the Discord relatively soon. I'm trying to upload all the information that'll be relevant. But yeah, if you're playing the 5e version of this campaign for my West Marches game, my public game, then you got to play mine. But yeah, I got they meant to say they aren't getting enough good content video. Yeah. That's the sad cold truth of the matter. I've recorded some videos, and I will be releasing them within a week or so. But just like freaking the window for me to record videos and edit them, like editing, honestly, for me is the biggest issue. If I had an editor, if I was rich enough to have an editor, I would be pumping out so much more videos, because it's one thing to record the videos and come up with what I'm going to be talking about and cover all the details and stuff, but man, just editing just knocks the wind out of my sails. And also the important thing too is the thumbnails. Oh my god, I like a thumbnail, for me, can be a 2-minute job, or it could be a 2-hour job. Thumbnails are just terrible. I hate thumbnails so much. And the problem is it doesn't like I'm not gonna say I come up with good videos. I'm not gonna say that my videos are good. But here's the truth of the matter: is if you got a video and you have like you could have a bad video, like it's a 4 out of 10 video, but if you've got a good thumbnail and a good title, then you're gonna get some views. Versus is if you had like a 5 or a 6 out of 10 video, but you've got a bad thumbnail and bad like title, then you're gonna get less views than the objectively worst video. That's just the truth of the matter. People love them thumbnails and titles because obviously that's what they see, right? Everybody judges everything off of face value. Just make videos in one take. I'm trying to remember if there have been any videos that have even come close to one take. No, I'd have to look at my. I'm gonna look to see if there's any that have even come close to one take. Let's take a look here. I mean, I've re-uploaded some live streams, so obviously that editing is just like, just snipping out the part. What other thing have I done in close to one shot? I don't think there has been. Like, pretty much everything, like, I am stumbling on words, or I lose my train of thought, or I say something I shouldn't say, and think better of it later on when I'm editing it. There's definitely just no way. Thumbnails are orchestrated, are outrageous. Advertisers are the devil. The movie The Protector does one take fight scene, one long shot. It's crazy. The Protector. Or maybe it's called Ong Bak. Trying to remember The Protector. I mean, I think like the most famous like long one shot scene was from Old Boy, like the hallway fight scene. Like that one is just so incredibly long. I hate clicking on a thumbnail and the video sucks. I immediately click off and select do not recommend this channel ever again. I'm getting ruthless. It's honestly a good thing, right? YouTube does take into account if you make a like there's obviously no like metric for what is or what is not clickbait, but YouTube does recognize that if people click on a video and click off of it within just a few seconds, then YouTube basically punishes that particular video. Old Boy's peak Korean film? Absolutely. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh, you know what? So I've got one that it didn't require any real editing. The video, I'll go ahead and pull it up here. It's when I did the 24-mile march. Yeah, let me see if I can find this here. Oh, it's weird to hear my voice. Let me see if I can pull this up here. So in this video, I saw Bob World Builder did a 24-mile march, and then I did it, and I did it in just a few hours. And what was really dope is I did this, and I like every hour, because I'd be checking my phone every hour on the hour. I'd be like, okay, time to record like a few minutes here and there, and then I would just go off the cuff. I'd be talking about whatever, and then for the editing was literally just putting all the videos together and then putting up like hour 1, hour 2, and then just putting up these little photos of people here and there. That was a good time. I know it sucks, but people love controversy and reaction VODs. Oh yeah, the amount of views reaction content gets versus the actual content is outrageous. Like, it's ballooned to a monstrous degree. Oh, look, turn that voice off. You know what? I'm at, yeah. So I'm actually I distinctly remember this. Okay, so when I did this 24-mile march, at one point I bumped into a guy, and I bumped into a bunch of people during this march here, but I bumped into a dude, and he was like, "Oh, hey, why are you doing this?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm just filming a video." And then he said, "Oh, I'm doing a ruck march because I'm getting ready to join the army." And I said, "Oh, hey, cool, man. What are you gonna do when you're in the army?" And he told me, I'm either gonna go to intelligence or I'm gonna go to infantry." And I was just sitting there thinking, like, the dichotomy between grunt infantry and intelligence was just like the funniest thing, right? Like that's like showing up to a job and being like, "Man, am I gonna be a janitor or am I gonna be the train conductor?" You know what I'm saying? Like, it felt just so funny, just him saying that, And I was like, "Oh yeah, good luck, dude." And this was 3 years ago, so his contract, if he was infantry, his contract would be nearly over at this point, or maybe it would be over. But it was very funny that it was very funny that he said, like, "Oh, intelligence or infantry." Oh man. Yeah, this video in particular was definitely one of my easier ones to, or one of my easier ones to edit. That's for sure. That's funny. But yeah, here's the real sad cold truth of the matter is, if I wanted to succeed on YouTube, am I going to be a wizard or a barbarian? That's literally kind of like what it was, right? Pretty much. And so in that video, like, I was equating, like, man, if you join the infantry, that's like your strength, dex, and con are going to go up. But if you join intelligence, your intelligence and wisdom are going to go up, right? So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, so if I wanted to succeed on YouTube, I would not be doing Dungeons and Dragons. Like, let's cut right to the chase here. If I wanted to succeed on YouTube, I would make Minecraft videos for kids, or I would just pump out a bunch of AI content and have, like, 100 different channels and just have all of them constantly churning out AI content. That's going to be reaction videos and just like AI Reddit stories, or 4chan whatever's. If I wanted to make money off of YouTube, I would be doing that. Like, that would be the grind of just setting up a bunch of channels and have them all be just AI, just constantly feeding into them, yada yada, etc. Fun fact, for everyone who hates AI and whatnot, AI is going to dominate the YouTube space. First off, just recently, a top 10 video on the channel, on the site, was a pure AI video. Like, it was AI voice, AI art, or it wasn't art. It was an AI video, AI everything, and it got dozens of millions of views in just an incredibly short amount of time. Secondly, there was a channel that was, once again, all pure AI. And I believe the channel earned like several $100,000 a month. Something crazy like that. And then third, it is speculated by the end of 2026, 90% of videos uploaded will be AI video, AI art, AI voice, AI script, AI subtitles, AI just everywhere. Over 90% of videos uploaded to YouTube will have AI, either be full AI or AI assistance or AI something. So AI will absolutely take over the YouTube space. It will dominate the space. AI will win. There's no fighting it. Learn to utilize it. I work with robotics. Sometimes it's inevitable. Yeah, it is truly inevitable. It is. The thing that a lot of people are scared of, though, is just how quickly it came. I think a lot of people were not expecting how strong AI was going to be just like this quickly. Because when we looked at AI videos that were coming out 3-4 years ago, they sucked. You looked at them and you were like, oh man, these things were terrible. But now there's this new AI video system, and unless you are paying attention, even for younger people, and I am including myself in younger people, gosh darn it, like you have to sit there and actually look and be like, okay, how can I tell this is fake? Okay, that tiny little thing in the background didn't, do whatever. But definitely, if you show it to like an air quote average person, there's a lot of AI videos coming out right like today that like they look like people, they sound like people, they talk like people. They each have their own individual unique cadences. The backgrounds look good, just everything all over the place. It's crazy. We will have an AI overload one day. Overlord one day. Yeah. And I for one, welcome my AI overlords because, one, I don't want to mess with them. But two, it's inevitable. you know. It's just inevitable. It is the way of things. It is what it is. I haven't made a video on my channel in years, but recently I was asked by my company to do a video teaching people about my hot dip galvanizing line. They did the editing, turned out great. Once again, I need to get me an editor. That'd be great. Problem is, though, editors cost money, and my channel does not make enough money to hire an editor. Maybe someday. Maybe if this whole my TTRPG and adventures and stuff pan out good, maybe I'll be able to make big videos and stuff. We'll see. Okay. Oh man. So another thing too is I like, first off, if you actually look at this this thing here, you might notice a little something funny at the bottom. If I can freaking see there. Nope. Here we go. This freaking document. Mind you, this is not the full document. I have not edited everything out completely. And also, very importantly, is in this document, I don't have any art at all whatsoever. So it is artless. It is mapless. There is nothing in this freaking thing. It's already 445 pages. Mind you, there is some like it's combined for both 5e and old school right now. So like once I separate them, it'll be a little bit different. But once I actually go to pump out this product, like I know the 5e book's gonna be freaking huge. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have two separate things of it. There is going to be like a big version of it, so it'll be the 400 some odd page behemoth. But then another version will be I will have. Mind you, once again, this is for the adventure Slay the Beast here. I'm gonna have a version where it'll be separated into 3 books. There'll be one that'll be all about the town and player options. 2 will be the dungeon, and 3 will be all of the magical items and monsters. I think that'll be a good way to separate out all the content, so you're not just always looking at one big gigantic thing. Just say you'll give a portion from VODs. They will work harder for you, not flat price. But the problem is as of right now, I don't make enough money for that. I also don't make enough content for that either. I do want to get back into the regular grind of releasing 1 to 2 videos a week, though. I definitely want to get back to that. But frickin' life hit me so hard in the past 6 months. Life just came at me like nowhere. I didn't have freedom. I didn't have semblance of opportunity. It sucked. But I am hopping back into the groove of things. Oh, You seem to be getting stronger though. I mean, I have been able to hit the gym. I have been able to get a little swole. Just a little bit though. I now have a strength modifier. I'm above a regular peasant with no strength modifier. Pain is just weakness leaving the body. I don't know about that. You swallow paint, and you feel the horrific pain coming through you. I don't know if that's weakness leaving the body. That should be an ability. Oh man. So yeah, I'll be able to. I think maybe by tonight I'll start posting up some stuff about my about the upcoming adventure I'll be running, and then I'll be able to start advertising for this and getting people to play the game. This kind of off-topic question. With all the hate from die-hard RPG players against 5e lately, I still see 5e Kickstarters doing okay, but not as good. Do you see it completely falling off? Not at all. And in fact, actually, I literally was... it's funny, you and me must be thinking the same thing here. I was literally thinking about that today. So I went to go look as far as third-party content goes. So let me pull up Kickstarter here. Boom, boom. Kickstarter. Let's see what's crack-a-lacking on the Kickstarter front here. So here is a fantastic example. Maybe I should like zoom in on this. So on the front page here, because it's tailored to mine. Here we've got 2 products recommended for me. This first product, let's click on this. This is Into the Majestic Fantasy Realms, The Northern Marches, a fantasy sandbox setting for the original 1974 role-playing game and other fantasy RPGs. So I could just like tell just by looking, it's obviously for old school gaming, right? Like, let's just confirm as we scroll down here. Living World Sandbox, what is Kickstarter funding? Hexcode... Does it actually say like it's trying to be for like a first edition D&D here? I don't know if it says it verbatim. Previews, downloads, adventure. Okay, so they're not saying anywhere that it is for first edition D&D, but it's obviously for old school gaming. This one is doing pretty good for themselves. This one has 500 backers for $26,000. That is pretty freaking good. In fact, actually, I'm curious how many people worked on this. Do they have a meet the team thing or anything? Let's take a look. Rotten Conley, who are you? Been enthusiastic playing tabletop role-playing games for 40 years. Publishing same content for 15. Okay, so this person, I doubt they've got a big team. So $20,000 is pretty freaking good, right? But then we've got this another one. We've got Lewd Dungeon Adventures converted to 5e. We have 1,185 backers for $80,000. Right? And for me, that is just like the typical, like this right here is all I need to know about 5e succeeding, 5e dominating the market, is that, you know what I'm saying? Like, this thing is making 80 grand off of remaking this product for 5th edition is netting them 80 grand. You just recently backed 5 campaign stuff? Heck yeah. And for like, so I'm actually curious about that. The author here is Phoenix Gray. So she is putting out this thing, reconverting adventures for 5e. Well, how did the original do? Got to make sure it's not against TOS or anything. Loot dungeons. Loot dungeons. Here we go. So okay, so her content's doing pretty good, admittedly. I'm seeing here that her original role playing system was 200 for her original thing was 7,700 backers, giving her $250,000. That's really freaking good. And then for the low price of converting all of her adventures to 5e, getting like dang near 80 grand, pretty freaking good, if you ask me. Check Rise of the Fall, Rise of the Drow. Rise of the Drow. After the fall. Oh yeah, freaking ridiculous. Like this thing's just about to give out in less than 2 hours now, and that's $112,000. Freaking easy money in the bank here. Let's take a look here. AAW Games, what are they doing? What are they kicking out? They're kicking out a card game, Adventure Arcs, Assemble. Oof, that did not get funded. Yikes. Mini Dungeon Tome for Pathfinder 2e. Hey, look at that. Pathfinder 2e is getting some love. Let's take a look at how much they got for this thing. For Pathfinder 2e, they got 500 people to pledge 30 grand. Not terrible. Not terrible. What else they got? It's Mini Dungeon Tome 2. So what did Mini Dungeon Tome 1 get? 1,439 pledging for 77. Not bad. You should cross-stream with other content creators when you're doing your advertising sesh. I absolutely will. I will absolutely reach out to everyone and be like, hey, gang, please help me. Absolutely. Okay, so Rise of the Drow, I've heard of this one. I definitely have heard of this. I did not touch it myself, but this Rise of the Drow here, frickin' killing it. 1,783 backers for $212,000. That right there to me is telling, and mind you, this is a level 1 to 20 adventure. Freaking huge. 600 page. My goodness. Like, I know a lot of people love to poo-poo on 5e and wish for its downfall, but the people are keeping 5e afloat. 5e is just absolutely destroying it. A Snow White adventure. A Snow White adventure. I'm doing a Beauty and the Beast adventure. Oh God, are they coming for? Are they gonna do fairy tale stuff too? Oh no. When did this come out? This came out in 2018. Okay, I'm not worried anymore. Tales of the Valiant Player's Guide 2 is about to finish as well. Yeah, that's a 5e clone. So, Tales of the Valiant. Kickstarter does not have the greatest search engine, which I feel is very unfortunate. I type in Valiant. I don't know, just freaking see what that is. Valiant. I see Frog God Games. Who did Tales of the Valiant? Was it Frog God Games? It wasn't Frog God Games, was it? Here we go. Tales of the Valiant was by Cobalt Press. I see. Tales of the Valiant 2. Yeah, look at that. 8 days to go, and they've already got 2,770, pledging for 212. In the last few days is where you get a bulk of your money as well. So I do easily predict that they'll get another at least 300 people backing. And what is the average? What is the average here? The average person is probably getting this product, which is another $60. So 60 times 300. Yeah, they're getting a lot more money. Like that right there is telling me that 5e is nowhere close to dropping off. People love to throw money at 5e content. Now, in a few years, I think there will be a contention between content specifically made for 5.14 edition and 5.24 edition. Hey, you live for once? How's it going? How is it hanging? Let me drop off this thing here. Here we go. Hi, hey, howdy, gang. I was just looking at some 5e content to show that Kickstarters are doing live and well. And for my Kickstarter that will be coming out hopefully in the semi-near future, hopefully within this year. I've got these 80 subclasses. I've got a full-blown adventure. I've got my own tabletop role-playing game system I'm working on. I'm trying to show all that off. So, Sariamon, I noticed something because if you hadn't noticed, whenever I make any of those post on YouTube, I typically respond. Like more often than not, I respond. And something and I'll get to as I'm talking to everyone else here is that little check box you got there marks you as a YouTuber. You are easily the highest subscription human being I've seen interact with my channel. You have over 200,000 subs. Freaking ridiculous. Good job. I must say, incredible work. I'm backing Astra Arcanum. That's ending soon. That's not 5e. Astra Arcanum. What the heck is that? I have not heard of Astra Arcanum. Let's take a look at this. They're doing pretty good. Between 1690 backers, they have $250,000, and they still have 60 hours to go. Deep tactical D20. It's a D20 dice pool system, huh? I don't think I've heard of a D20 dice pool system. Obviously most dice pool systems are D6s. I've not really had the time to fully dive into the whole system you've created. It'll likely take me a lot of time to get to a good grasp of it. Here's what I'll tell you: is my system, which it's in my Discord and yada this and that. It is a air quo simple version of 5e. It is very much so. It's smaller numbers. It's simple. It's not doing anything new. It's funny. I'm working on a ton of things, mind you. Like I'm working on these adventures. I'm working on these subclasses. I'm working on my own TTRPGs. Whatever. I've been working very very lightly on other TTRPG systems, and other TTRPG systems that I'm going to be showing off. Those will be unique. Like they will be offering up something new in regards of how the game functions and dice and resolution and all that fun stuff. But for this one, Make Believe, the one that this one in particular, this one is just basic D&D. This one's relatively simple. The major thing though is that the major trip up I think for D&D people to move to this system would probably come in the form of probably combat, I suppose. Start multi-streaming on Kick too. Their payouts are outrageously good. You know how they're good? Because they're good for the people at the top. Something to consider about specifically when you're looking at YouTube, Twitch, and Kick is that the top 1% make over 90% of all the money on the platform. Also, very importantly is when you look at, once again, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, it's very public to see, like, oh man, look at this streamer, they've got 5,000 viewers. Oh, hey, look at this streamer, they've got, 800 viewers. It's very easy to see those people. But the thing that you typically don't see is the pages and pages and pages of people with 0 views. There are so many people streaming with 0 viewers. It is like, in fact, I actually kind of want to look this up. Twitch, how many people are streaming with 0 viewers? I wonder if there's even like a thing that'll show this off here. So there's no official data. But there is thousands of people doing it. And mind you, that's just on Twitch. Like, I think there's probably more streamers on YouTube overall. And I think Kick is... I don't know how many people are streaming on Kick now. I know Kick is probably... it's newer. I'm looking forward to the new Old World RPG coming soon from Cubicle 7. It's a different system than WFRP. Huh. To check that out as well. That would be a good reaction channel idea, going through zero streamers. It's funny, literally as you said that, I saw a video that immediately came up of someone doing exactly that. Someone hopping into view to channels that have 0 viewers. So that's pretty funny. Like I said, ultimately, if I wanted to make money off of YouTube, I would not be doing D&D. D&D is a niche market. It's a capped market. There is only enough room for X number of people to succeed. Unfortunately, the only way some D&D YouTubers can succeed is if others do not succeed. Right? That's the sad cold truth of the matter. You see that girl that got caught live streaming her bot app giving her viewers? That's pretty funny. The adventure you're working on, is it a sandbox? I really want to check out in particular cause I was fairly impressed by your takes and opinion on Curse of Strahd. Yes. State your passion, man. I am. Yeah, let me showcase off a little bit of my adventure here. So, boom, boom. Slay the Beast. So this is here we go. Nope, wrong one. Hold on. This one. Here we go. Boop. Yeah. So this is a sandbox. It is a mega dungeon style adventure. So as a reminder, I'm going to be running this in my Discord very soon. I'm going to be posting all about it. I'm going to be showcasing off a bunch of things. It'll be public, free to play. Fun fact, I just saw recently that there was a D&D YouTuber that was charging $50 a session to run some games. I am not going to be charging people $50 to play in my games. I'm going to be charging them $0 and 0 cents. But that being the case, yeah, so this is a sandbox adventure. I've got a lot going on with it, a lot of pages, a lot of stuff. This adventure in particular, I've got a lot of stuff going on with it, right? I've got a lot of stuff going on with it. So I've got a whole list of, ways on how you could potentially play the game. I've got all these backgrounds to incorporate your players into the game. The main draw of this game will be the town and the castle. So the town of Bellfleur, that is where your players will be residing. This is where they're going to meet all the dozens and dozens of named NPCs and having a gay old time with. This is where they will retreat back to and rest up and respite, hang out, spend all their gold, etc., etc. I've got a whole bunch of stuff going on with this. Whole bunch of people in the town. Mind you, this is not the finished product by any means necessary. This is super duper ugly. I don't have any art. I haven't formatted this at all. Still work in progress. So, you know, this is an alpha. This isn't even a beta. Got a lot of stuff going on with it. Rival adventures, town events, fun things about picking up henchmen and stuff for like old school play. A calendar. So every single time I release a campaign setting, I'm always going to release a calendar. And how the calendar works is, once again, this looks ugly. So let's take a look over at Make Believe here to show you off a much better looking version of the calendar. With this calendar, you roll up on it and you get a cute little bonus, right? Like the calendar determines when you were born. Oh, hey, I roll a D100. I roll a 26. I was born under Wild Moon, Summer's Dawn, under the waning moon. This gives me a +1 check to calm wild creatures. I always love little stuff like that. That really helps you like feel like you're part of a lived-in world. And, you know, it's not outrageous. A little +1 check to calm wild creatures, right? You know, a cute little effect right there. Then there's going to be info about the surrounding lands. There'll be a couple of other dungeons floating around here and there, but and then, you know, info about other settlements and whatnot. But yeah, the main draw will be the castle. The castle is a huge, hundreds of rooms location filled with monsters and traps and mazes and all sorts of various stuff. It'll be a fun, great, epic adventure. You are 100% right. The D&D RPG market is maxed out on actual viewers, and they can only watch so much in one day. We are only human, you know. Hey, you're charging me $100. Well, I understand. You have to deal with me. Fair. That would be so great if I just like secretly, like, I'm running this game and I'm like, hey, pay up. Pay up. No. But yeah, this adventure is I'm super duper passionate about it so far. I'm having a grand old time writing about it. And once again, not only is this adventure all about, you know, this town and this dungeon, I'm also coming up with a bunch of player options. So for 5e, I've got these 80 subclasses that I'll be... I don't know if I'm going to keep all 80 of them. These are still all in alpha. Like, some of them might not just be up for the cut, and I'll cut some to make it a little bit, you know, more manageable. But I just want to release a bunch of content and get it in the eyes and hearts of the people, and yeah. I want to get the ball rolling on the No Fun Allowed Enterprise. Ugh. Fun subplot: the players are being extorted for a quest gone sideways, but none of it was their fault and they can't prove it. Exactly. And they never will. It's funny, with all this technology we got, I've got all these like different apps and whatnot, but every once in a while when I want to like get stuff done, I just write it down on, you know, paper and pencil, and I feel like, you know, it's a good way to physically remind myself to cross out stuff that I've completed and, you know, look at stuff. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think I am. I'm pretty stoked about. Pretty stoked about all this. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anyone saw, but YouTube is slowly doling out a feature which is basically like a community like posting forum on a channel, and a bunch of my fellow YouTube content creators, DD content creators anyway, are very reluctant to turn it on because it requires moderation, and not too many. But like most YouTubers don't have like mods unless they're like a full time big streamer. But that would require you to have mods. Have you got to random tables yet or encounter tables yet? Oh, yes. So, to not give too much away, basically every zone of the castle has a different random encounter table. So, if you're in one area of the castle, the random encounter table looks like X, but if you're in another part of the castle, it looks like Y. Another thing is, um, so yeah, yeah. So I got a bunch of random tables for the thing so far. However, one thing I like, it's funny because like I'm very proud of it, but like one of the major things I'm proud about is the magical items of this campaign are incredibly flavorful and incredibly fun. I think that's something that like when I think back to like a lot of adventures, I feel like a lot of magical items, they're either like strong or they're just like you're just basic goody stuff. But like none of them are like, oh man, this is awesome. It's like, oh yeah, I got that, cool. But like I am very very excited to see players' reactions to my magical items. It's gonna be great. I love that feature. It seems cool. Yeah. I think it'll cause a lot of engagement, which is exactly what YouTube wants. Every platform online wants you to stay on that platform for as long as possible. So if YouTube creates a sort of like a Reddit thing on their site, they get to drive people away from Reddit and keep people on YouTube. Like that's what YouTube wants, right? I just wrote down on paper today all the Kickstarters I haven't received yet and the ones about to close. I still haven't gotten two of them from 2023. Gloomhaven 2 and that 5e Reverse Dungeon. Which one's the 5e Reverse Dungeon? I know Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven's, like one of the biggest tabletop games out there, but I'm curious about the Reverse Dungeon one. Because, fun fact, I'm also working on another adventure, but I haven't touched that in a little while. It's a Reverse Dungeon hex crawl. I'm working on that. I actually ran a bunch of it in my Discord. I ran like how many sessions did I run of that? Let's take a look here. Guilds and Gargoyles. Session schedule. I ran 57 sessions of my reverse Mega Dungeon hex crawl. Pretty good. But unfortunately I stopped because life got in my way and haven't been able to pick it back up. For the campaign, what or who is the big bad evil guy? Unless it's a spoiler, or if there's a less of one big bad evil guy and more moving parts. So, it being called Slay the Beast, I'm very much so leaning on both the nostalgia factor of Beauty and the Beast in regards of, oh hey, instead of kill the beast, we're saying slay the beast. But also secondly is I'm leaning also on that Curse of Strahd thing of, okay gang, we're going into this adventure and we know that the beast is the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Like if you go into a campaign of Curse of Strahd, you know Strahd's the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm just leaning into it. The beast is the big bad. One thing no one has done has done a tier campaign 1 to 20. Each area has 4 different map setups depending on the level, main quest, DC, or depend on those tiers. The encounter is always tier dependent. Yeah, I mean, like I said, personally, I am not interested in writing a level 1 to 20 adventure because, one of the major reasons I wouldn't be interested in writing a level 1 to 20 adventure is I wouldn't want to write the plot that requires players to follow along in that fashion. I'm much more someone that likes to write either very, very short linear things or just create little sandboxes and the players can figure it out on their own. I personally wouldn't. I like, for me, I feel like having to write a level 1 to 20 thing would just be an absolute nightmare because, once again, writing levels 1 through 10, relatively simple. But once you go 11 and up, then all of a sudden you're getting into the problem of, oh, hey, how do you write a dungeon that the players don't automatically abuse because they've got X, Y, and Z spell? How do you write a villain that doesn't get absolutely demolished? How do you do this? How do you do that? And like it would just be so annoying for me. It's called Legend of the Keepers. Well, I'm gonna look that up. Legend of the Keepers. Let's see what we got here. Why haven't they delivered? What are they doing? Legend of the Keeper. Reverse. Legend of the Keepers. I type in Legend of the Keepers and I don't see anything from... I don't see anything on Kickstarter. Scott Taylor? I'm trying to see if Scott Taylor pops up. Scott Taylor and Tabletop Games. Let's see. Oh, Scott Taylor does a bunch of things. Oh my god. Who the heck is this guy? I've never even heard of Scott Taylor, and all of a sudden I just look and there's like so much crap going on. I received all the digital content, but nothing physical yet. Man, I'm trying to find this thing fully. Anything popping up on the screen? Nope. Let me show this off here. Alrighty, let's see if I can Control F this. Legend of the Keeper's 5-year reverse dungeon. Okay, here we go. Why aren't you coughing it up, Scott Taylor? Where are you at? Oh my sweet lord! Between 1,486 people, $204,000. Golly. Man, I am in the wrong business. 350-page core setting and adventure book. 24 playable 5e heroes ranging from 2nd to 9th level. 24 playable 5e heroes. Does that mean just pre-built characters? Is that what that's implying? 12 notorious monster bosses. 4 epic customizable dungeons with infinite replayability. 60 plus playable monsters. A card deck. Progress report events that will keep any dungeon boss on their toes. 100 STLs for monsters. 200 versatile Stonecraft STLs. 5e mechanics. Cults and powers. What is going on? Okay. That's all well and good. Updates. Where are we at in the updates? Hey y'all, just touching base that our timeline published in the last update is still intact. Well, screw me, I can't frickin' see it. Post is for backers only, screw me. Just letting you know that LSG is still good. Things are paid and being done, and we're waiting for them to come back in later in the year, as stated previously. You play the monsters. Oh. The DM plays the heroes. Oh, I understand now. Okay. Man, if I was a physical player, I'd be even poorer than I already am. Mind you, I play online, and thus my tabletop gaming is, next to free. But like, if I played in person, I know I'd want to get all these sorts of minis and terrains and stuff. Oh my goodness! Become a monster boss. Look at that. So much stuff. Oh my, the freaking the unlock stuff, it just keeps on going. It doesn't end. Okay, it finally ended. No, that's unlocked. What am I saying? Oh my sweet lord, I'm like getting carpal tunnel just scrolling on this page looking at all the unlocked stuff for their Kickstarter. This is ridiculous. Jeez Louise. Oh hey, we've unlocked these collaborations. I recognize Mini Wargaming because I remember watching them ages ago. 3D printing someone will have a 3D printing someone will have an AI build, an even better one eventually. Uh, Maybe, maybe, but I got no idea. Um, I mean, not maybe. They definitely will. It's not, at some point AI will be able to make STL files for you, but I don't know how many people are pushing to make that in particular. Black Magic Craft, I recognize them. God dang. Any of my fellow YouTube compatriots here? Dave. Dave said some good stuff. Don't recognize anyone else. God dang. I before today I didn't even know Scott Taylor, and it turns out Scott Taylor is just pumping out freaking 50 billion products. Freaking ridiculous. I did not know this was going on. I want STL files with your campaign. I would too. Once again, as of right this millisecond, I'm still an alpha. I'm nowhere near that, but recently got into Call of Cthulhu. Quite like the realism. I'd love it if there was something like D&D, but with more thought spent on how to explain a level up, how you heal your wounds and stuff. Any opinions on that? So the way to do that is, obviously just simple house homebrew rules of one, for leveling up, you don't level up, like, you don't kill some goblins and then go to bed and then wake up the next day and then all of a sudden you know how to, shoot a fireball. The way to solve that is you have to get tutoring. So if you're a wizard, you have to go tutor under a wizard, or you go to school. If you're a fighter, you got to go train with that gruff, veteran who teaches you how to swing better. That's the simple one. Now, the healing, that's the bit of an issue. Because obviously when you're looking at Call of Cthulhu, in Call of Cthulhu, you have anywhere between 8 to 15 hit points. If you get shot with the 1911 once, there's a chance you could die, right? But in 5e, and conversely all D&D for that matter, D&D has never been like that. D&D has always been a game of, oh, you get shot or stabbed or whatever, and the implication there is you can shrug off a bit more. Now, the way to solve that is simply get rid of the long rest system And what you do is you implement a system like every day you get 1 hit point back, or or you roll a D3. As per like old school D&D, you would roll a D3 of HP. You would regain a D3 of HP. Regain a D3 of HP every day. That is a weird sentence for me to say. So that right there immediately stifles the whole, being able to shrug off getting eaten by a T-Rex yesterday and then walking it off the next day like nothing happened, right? But then you could also just incorporate, the classic stuff of, if you want to make it a low fantasy setting, you get rid of a bunch of the spellcasters and spellcasting conversely. And instead you make that, instead of people casting spells to heal, the medicine woman, she has medicinal herbs, and if she applies that over you over the course of a month, you can potentially walk again, kind of thing. So if you want to turn 5e into, a bit grittier, like those are just simple, easy go-to ways to go about it. But ultimately, my solution there is, if you want to make 5e more realism and hardcore-like, it probably would just serve better to play a different system that caters to that better. There are, in fact, fantasy TTRPGs that are about more gritty and hardcore and stuff like that. But 5e is, it definitely like, it definitely is stronger when it's played to a certain way. Call was fun. Played it a few times. It's gritty and dark. Psychosis is inevitable. Absolutely. I got it not only because it seemed cool, but I liked that there was a lot of names of collaborators. Didn't know this would be a slow delivery. Yeah, I got no idea. I've talked to some of my contemporaries about getting things delivered and whatnot, and it's just such a shame because of the world we live in today. You can have something locked down, right? Like, you know exactly the timeline, or you know exactly what to do. You know that, oh, hey, I give this person, $10,000, and then they print this stuff. And then when they have that printed, then it moves to a warehouse. And then from that warehouse, the company comes and takes it from the warehouse and then delivers it to the shipping place. And then from that shipping place, it goes out and goes into individual houses. Like, you can have a plan locked down, all the money in place, and da-da-da, this and that. But then, unfortunately, outside of your abilities, you literally cannot speed up the process along. Something happens along the way. Something gets backed up, a machine breaks down, a pallet goes missing, container goes missing, the people quit, or just the inevitable thing of, oh, hey, there's already a line, and when they don't give you a hard date, they just give you a window, and those windows often outstretch outside of their windows. And it sucks that, like, there's literally nothing you can do about it, right? Especially because of recently with the whole thing of a whole bunch of products that were made in China and all the tariffs and stuff. It's just ridiculous how you can't do anything about it. Like, for me, the simplest thing would be because I live in the United States, it would be so simple for me to simply have something created down the street. And once it's done being created, I put it in my garage until the shipping crew comes, and then they take it and then they deliver it to everybody. Like, that would be so simple, but you can't do that. Like, you just can't. It's not possible. It's not fiscally possible. It's not physically possible. It's just like, there's so many issues with creating products and getting them sent to places in a record time. Some people do get incredibly lucky. Some people do, but a lot of people don't. And also, very importantly, is moving a mass amount of physical product is typically a luxury for the rich. You know, like what are the and mind you, that person, this Scott guy, he seems like he's doing pretty good. Every single product I saw, he was getting lots and lots of big buku bucks for. So I imagine he's doing okay in the money department there. But for the most of us probably don't have the luxury of getting the best, people who know everything, who know every law, who know the best publishers, who know the best warehouse to place it in. Like, most of us just don't have that information, and it sucks. And on that whole thing of like, recently there was a I can't, I'm totally blanking on who it was, but there was a YouTuber, D&D YouTuber, and they had their product of whatever product they were making, and it was in a warehouse, and the warehouse got hit by a flood, and they lost a bunch of product. Like, and so sometimes just acts of God just come and screw you over like that. I don't know what the issue with that particular product or project is in regards of why you can't get it all these years later. I got no clue, but seems to me Scott's doing okay. I'm like slowly scrolling through Scott's stuff now, and golly, there's so much content. This guy's been producing so much crap. I kind of want to do what he's doing. I just want to pump out a bunch of content. Kind of want to do that. I actually don't know if you're allowed to do multiple things at Kickstarter at the same time. I wonder. It's quite unfortunate that your content for DMs is doomed to stay small on YouTube. It really is just so much more rewarding to make skits or vids for players than DMs. Yeah, yeah. So, I really appreciate you doing it though. Yeah. So first off, that's why I do it, because it's so weird. Like, I can't think of another like major product where you do something that benefits 5 people, but really only like 1/5 of those 5 people are going to like appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? It sucks because like I'm trying to think of, like, you buy a burger, and you like I try to think of like a good analogy, but there really isn't one. But yeah, YouTube. If you try and make content for D&D and you're making content for DMs, you are going to fail. There, just make React content, make skits, or make content aimed at players. It's just the sad cold truth of the matter. Don't make it purely for DMs. And ironically, DMs are the ones that need the most help, and yet they are. It's it's the least beneficial to do that for them. Slay the beast. Yeah, so I mean, until I start playtesting more, and like once I get more comfortable, then I'm gonna start like trying to figure out, okay, how do I produce this thing? How do I get this into people's, like, you know, how do I get this into people's hands? I'm not too worried about it. And also, very importantly, is like, also right this millisecond, I'm not too worried about looking into it because of the whole, tariffs around the world thing. So maybe in, like, a few months, hopefully everything gets settled to a sense of normalcy. We'll see. Yeah, but ultimately, as mentioned before, making if I wanted to make YouTube like my full blown career in regards of just profiting from it, then I would not be doing D&D. I'd be doing Minecraft. I'd be pumping out AI videos. I'd be reacting. I'd be doing whatever else, right? Like, D&D is not the place to succeed. Very of all, I'm trying to think of all the big D&D YouTubers. Like, I'm just gonna D&D. Like, who are the biggest D&D YouTubers? Ginny D and Bob World Builder, World of Ioverse, Pointy Hat, D&D Shorts. And I like I think the amount of people who actually make a living off of D&D YouTube is less than 20. Deck of DM things. It's funny. His title is Deck of DM things, but like a lot of his like stuff isn't for DMs. He gets a lot of he posts a lot of content about like physical products and stuff. Whatever. I mean, I think there is a way to make it with content for DMs on YouTube, but it's rough. I I'll tell you what. I lack the capability of doing so. One, I'm poor. That and as memey as that sounds, as jokingly as I say that, there is a truth of the matter. You obviously know what's up. If if me and someone else make the same exact video, but someone else has better, visuals because like, for example, my camera is crap and my audio isn't as good and things of that nature. Like, just purely that alone, like, that puts me on the back end, right? And then same thing for, whatever. DMing with purely making a profit off of DM content for YouTube. Oh my lord, it'd be ridiculous. I'm scrolling through like D&D YouTubers right now, and I'm seeing another big trend, of course, is like physical product, like these how to build, or reviewing this, physical product and stuff. Like, those are pretty big too. Also, how to make stuff, how to make crafting an entire fantasy village for $0 and 1.3 million views. I myself don't know how to do any of that stuff, so I'm screwed. My content was even more niche. It is for DMs that buy expensive terrain and miniatures. Yeah, exactly. There's about 500 of those people, or 499 excluding moi. Exactly, right? Exactly. I think like probably one of the better avenues to being successful in the D&D sphere would probably be to have like one of those like just have one of those breakout live action games that they're running. Like not just Critical Role, mind you, but there's World of well, not World of Ioverse, but oh my god, who are those people that just did the spooky setting? Who are those people? And they, oh my god, here we go. I literally, as I'm saying that, I find them. Legends of Avantris. Legends of Avantris. So these people, they blew up because they run a game in person, and they also blew up because they have incredible shorts. I'm looking at their short game right now. Their shorts get millions of views on the reg. That helps. It really helps if you're regularly pumping out shorts that are from your game that are like I'm looking at the past 3, 6, 9 of the last 12 shorts that they did. Their worst performing short got 621,000 views. And all of the views of these last 12 videos are bouncing between 621,000 views and 3.6 million views. So, god dang. So having a group of friends that can play in person and that you can make content out of is a fantastic way to go. I think your approach of working on your own adventure and making your own system is really good already. Yeah. So, mind you, like, yeah, if you wanted to make a living purely off of YouTube, like, obviously that's much, much harder. But if I wanted to make a living off of more than just YouTube, yeah, that making content is absolutely the way to go. Like, selling the adventures and making my own TTRPG system and so on and so forth. Like, YouTube is just a platform to try and get customers to that door, right? I don't see like making my own content like that propelling my YouTube game. But the dream would be at some point that my YouTube game gets big enough that when I go to, pump out more content, then it drives more people there. For example, being these Legends of Avantris people. They put out the Crooked Moon Kickstarter. Let's take a look at that. I know the Crooked Moon went gangbusters, from what I recall. The Crooked Moon. Boom. Let's take a look at this, shall we? Yeah, the Crooked Moon. So, these people right here. 21,793 backers pledging $4 million. So these people made YouTube successful, and then they pivoted to selling an adventure on the side, and it netted them a medley pittance of $4 million. Great, $4,020,000. Goodness gracious. I also really love that art, by the way. The art of that moon is freaking fantastic. Also, the art of that, like, the beast thing, I love it. Oh man, I dig this art style too. I'm actually curious about this. Okay, everything is subject to change. Previous options. Do I just click on this? Preview. A 7-page preview. Let's go. I'll have to do this. Of course, I'm going to have to make some previews. Oh, wait, here we go. The Hypno-Wolfen. It's the Hypno-Wolfen, yeah. I will say, of my many complaints of 5e, one of my major complaints of 5e is freaking stat blocks taking up a page. I really don't like that. I really don't like that stat blocks take up a full freaking page. Like, I get, like, just 5e just has so much verbiage going on that you need to have that stuff. It's ridiculous. And I don't even know them. You do now. I don't know how it is for D&D YouTubers, but if you know any others, once your adventure is ready for release, you should message them, maybe give out a free copy or two. I think that might make for a banger promotion. Oh, absolutely. I mean, either giving them a free copy or just paying them to advertise it will go a long way. Like, it absolutely will. What big eyes you have. What big teeth you have. Belly of the beast. Tender tummy. Warlock, patron of the Horned King. Oh, man. For my freaking fairy tale stuff, I need to come up with some, like Pied Piper stuff. My goodness. Expanded spell list. Virtual casting. Wildcraft. I will say I do hope like this product does change a little bit because I'm not a fan of this background for the text. Like the black text on like darker stuff, I think doesn't look as good in my eyes. I don't know how most people feel about it, but I think like looking at the top left there just doesn't look as good. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Wildcraft, you harness the magic inherent in the natural world. You gain proficiency with alchemist supplies and herbalism kits. Additionally, you gain proficiency with medicine skill. Drawing upon the Horned King's guile, creatures have disadvantage on insight checks made to discern your intentions. A creature is immune to the effect. A creature is immune to this effect if it is immune to being charmed. Okay. Malediction. As a reaction, when you hit a creature within 60 feet, you can apply a minor hex. When you hit by a creature. Target's next int, whiz, or charisma saving throws at disadvantage. The next melee attack, range attack, or concentration check is at disadvantage. The next time you damage the target, takes an additional necrotic damage equal to your purchasing bonus. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your purchasing bonus. That's cute. I dig it. Back to the horn. Choose dagger for the form. Material blade, shape of the blade. Whenever you hit a creature with your packed weapon, it deals an additional D4 necrotic, and the creature becomes cursed. Creature's disadvantage on saving throws against your spells. Damn. Damn. That's good. Pack to the chain. Let me guess, your fine familiar is a rat. I guess it's not. Pack to the tome. Produce a magical potion in an empty flask. Oh, you roll 2d6 to see what you get. Okay. That's cute. I'll head to bed soon too. It's 2 a.m. over here. Good night. Looking forward to the next stream I can hop into. Absolutely. I'll try and see if I can do any more anytime soon. I know I'm going to be busy for the next few days though. We'll see. New Eldritch... Oh, man. Should I come up with new Eldritch Invocations for my frickin' Slay the Beast Adventure 2? Gosh darn it. New magic item. Okay. But yeah, that... I don't know if I have the writing chops to ever be as successful as these people. But my God, what would I do to get just a fraction of what they got? Maybe I just like work for someone else. Maybe I think that might be my dream, is just to work for someone else and slowly release some stuff on the side. Meet the team. Mikey Gilder. Richie Gilder. Andy Flynn, Derek Hudson, Nikki Scarlett, Mace Caffrey, Kelsey Kerrigan, The Blasting Company. Yeah, maybe my dream is maybe my dream is just to put out a bunch of content and then someone's like, "Oh man, you're really good. Let me hire you." And then I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely. That sounds awesome." Maybe that's what my future holds. Alrighty. All right. Well, I I got to see what I've got left in regards of what I'm working on. I've got a whole bunch of editing to do. I've got a whole bunch of conversions to 5e I've got to do. And now I've got a few more considerations to add to my material that is already lengthy as can be. But, I gotta make what the people want. I gotta give them what they want. I'll be running some games soon, so I'll be posting all that stuff in the Discord. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the future of material release that is to come. So with that, I'm going to hop off in 3 minutes. If you have any questions, concerns, gripes, moans, complaints, general observations, feel free to voice them now. Another one I'm waiting to receive is Victoriana. It's an 1800 steampunk campaign setting. It's 5e based. I've never been a steampunk fan myself. I don't know what it is about steampunk. I'm not like naturally against it. I just have never gotten into it ever. It's funny because whenever I go to, I've got a Ren fair somewhat close to my house, somewhat close to where I live. Every year, it's open for like a few weeks, and I go, and more often than not, when I go on Steampunk Week, which I always dress up as like either a pirate or something. But it's funny that like I like regularly end up on the weekend that it is like Steampunk Weekend. There's some fantastic cosplayers at those Ren fairs too, like ridiculously good. Last time I went, there was a dude that was walking around in a full Mandalorian, like looking like the Mando, and it looked like it did. There was nothing about it that looked fake. It looked like it was straight up real. You know, oh my god, why am I blanking on the Mandalorian's metal armor? Oh my god, what's the metal called? Um, I can't remember. I have a bunch of 3D props I want to print that are all steampunk. Props as in for like tabletop, or props as in like just things you have around your house. I haven't printed them yet. Beskar. That's the name of the metal in Star Wars that repels laser blast. I remember now. But yeah, I've seen like every time I go, there's always a Gandalf and a Radagast, and like they're just these old dudes, and they look so perfect. Like they look exactly how you think, like a book version of Gandalf and Radagast would look. One time they were selling a $700 pirate jacket, and it looked, oh my god, it was so good looking. Oh my god, I wanted it so bad. I had to resist though. That would have broken the bank. I would be destitute. Objects life size, mamma mia. All right, well, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. Thank you for joining the Discord. Thank you for just chatting. Thank you for everything. It's been a blast. It's been a privilege. It's been an honor. Can't wait to start running some public games for y'all. Can't wait to start pumping out this content for y'all. Like I said, big adventures to come, TTRPGs, little adventures, little supplements here and there and everywhere, all that fun stuff. But that's going to do it for me, and I shall see you all in the next one. See ya!